Hi everybody, and welcome back to my video. Whether you are watching on Rumble or on YouTube, whichever one you are watching this on. So, in this video, I'm going to get into some more stuff that I've been seeing on Twitter. Okay? A lot of crazy stuff that I've been seeing people share on Twitter. Or a post, or yeah. So, the other thing I've been seeing on Twitter is people referring to Trump's deportation as sending them to a concentration camp. Like, seriously? You think these people who are being supported, you think these people who are being deported are being sent to a concentration camp? Do you not even know what that is? And they're trying to claim, well, they're not getting due process. Okay, first of all, how come they, according to their logic, according to their reasoning, how come they don't need due process to get into this country, but they need due process to be deported from this country? If they're in this country illegally, why do they need due process? And there's so many illegal immigrants that if we went by due process, we probably wouldn't be able to get very many of them by the time Trump is out of office. So, yeah, and also, the border control, deporting illegal immigrants, that used to be something that both parties would agree on. That used to be a bipartisan thing, like Republicans and Democrats used to agree on that. At one point in time, Obama agreed with that. Okay? At one point of time. In time. That's what in Obama, like a lot of stuff that Trump's saying right now about deporting illegal aliens, a lot of that stuff Obama used to say probably before he ran for president in 2008. I've seen video clips of footage of that. But maybe that was something he said during one of his campaign tours. Probably the 2008, because come 2012, like during his second term, that's when he started calling these people dreamers and singing a different tune and going a different direction. And in fact, that right there is what's creating this. They claim that Trump is separating families, with actually this idea of birthright citizenship, which I do not believe that that's supposed to apply to illegal immigrants. Okay? Because otherwise, yeah, that would be separating families, and it's those policies. And it's only gotten this bad because everybody's been slacking off. Nobody's been about the border. They've been tolerating all this stuff. And now the narrative is being pushed that if you support the border wall or illegal immigrants being deported, that you are some kind of racist. That's the narrative that's being pushed. So, anyway, I wanted to talk about this comparison to a concentration camp. Because this is also about, goes down to, once again, comparing Trump to Hitler. That argument gets old very fast. Okay, so the concentration camp were basically um, like being on death row. I mean, those people in concentration camp, I think they were kept where they were pretty much executed. I don't remember if there was different methods, or some of them was given like a gas chamber type of thing, and others a firing squad, but all those people were put to death. They were waiting to be executed. It was like being on death row. And you can't really compare that to illegal immigrants being sent back to their own country, the country of origin. Like, I mean, what? Because basically, while you're trying to criticize Trump, you're actually criticizing that country of origin that these illegal aliens have been coming from. Okay? That's what you're doing. Like, if somebody's been deported back to Mexico, for instance, then what you're saying is, well, you're saying that Mexico is a concentration camp, and those people who are just deported to Mexico, they're gonna get executed in Mexico. Like, no, you're making it sound like that Trump is having these people executed, and like due process. Like, what is this business? Weird how they don't need due process to come to this country, but they do need due process to leave this country, to be deported, because they're here illegally. Okay? And I think they're using this due process thing to try to paint Trump as Hitler. And something else I've been thinking about lately. Why would somebody who is supposedly Hitler support the Second Amendment? Think about something. Wouldn't the Second Amendment be a threat to someone who is like Hitler? Wouldn't the Second Amendment be a threat to a dictator? And Trump has come out pro Second Amendment. He is not for gun control. He doesn't believe in gun control, and he's even faced criticism for that. Especially after the recent shooting at that college, FSU College, University. Trump faced criticism for not supporting for not supporting gun control. They used to push a narrative that if you don't support gun control, then all these shootings are basically your fault. You're enabling all these mass shootings. That's not what they're doing. Because first of all, in this country, the United States of America, in this country, guns are like criminals will always have a way to get a gun. Okay, if somebody wants to, if somebody's over there, they're planning to do some kind of mass shooting, they're gonna find some way to get a gun. If they have to, they might get it off the black market. They might find some way to get it illegally. Okay? And a lot of these countries that supposedly gun control worked, supposedly, a lot of these, like Australia, I think Japan, like, they don't have as many guns as the United States have. And I think there's also a smaller population. That's very nuanced. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. There's countries where gun control seems to work. They are a lot smaller countries than the United States is. And Australia and Japan, they are islands. So naturally it would be harder for a criminal to obtain a gun illegally. But what about other forms of violence? What about knife violence? And then there's also countries that nobody talks about that with no gun control, you have gun rights and you're almost required to have a gun. They also have low criminal activity. I think, was it Switzerland or something? I mentioned in a previous video. So what I'm getting at is, this concentration thing is about comparing Trump to Hitler. They compared Trump's deportation to Hitler's concentration camp, which that right there would suggest that Trump is sending these prisoners that are being deported. That right there was suggesting that Trump is sending these people to their deaths to have them executed or something. That is not what is going on at all. Okay? If somebody comes to this country illegally, they must be deported. Because even if that's the only thing they did, they came to this country illegally, well, they're technically a criminal. They're on the run. And because they've been tolerated for so long, many of these people were able to sort of form a family or whatever, maybe even get a job, and then by the time they get deported, it makes Trump look bad. And Obama had people deported too. Obama used to be for deporting illegal immigrants. Okay, Obama used to be for that, and nobody attacked him for it during those days. Okay, so basically, Trump is being criticized for supporting something that used to be something that both sides were for. I think even the border wall used to be something that both sides were agreed on. Okay, that used to be something. This concentration camp business it's false, because Trump is not sending these people to their death. Okay? Because that's basically what you're saying. People in concentration camp were basically sent to their deaths. They're going to be executed. And who knows what else. Whereas these people are basically being sent back home. And if any of them were criminals in their home country, those are the people that are going to prison. Okay? I predicted the other guy that got deported and finding interesting stuff, because I believe there's a lot of false narrative going around about him, about the way he was deported. I'm trying to get to the bottom of what's going on with that guy who was deported to El Salvador. I do not believe the claim that the Trump administration acknowledged that this was an error or something, because last night I had Grok do deep search on that, and apparently the only sources they could find were left-leaning sources. Every single one of them. Only left-leaning sources were saying that the Trump administration has acknowledged that this was a clerical error. And when I try to ask it, apparently there's a 10-question limit on that. And then once you exceed that, you have to wait 24 hours before you can ask more questions. And I try to get a follow-up question, trying to verify. Because I'm trying to find proof that Trump actually said that the Trump administration actually said that. But I used my 10 questions, and I had to wait 24 hours, which should be up right about now when I'm filming videos, so I had to maybe check on that in the morning. Because I'm trying to do some research and dig into this, find out what's going on with that, see if the Trump administration actually said that, and if they did, if it was something if they were referring to something else that was taken out of context. So I want to find out what was actually said. So yeah, I've been seeing a lot of stuff lately on Twitter about comparing Trump's deportation methods and policies to concentration camps, because these people were being deported without due process. Kind of strange how due process was never an issue when Obama was deporting people, or even during Trump's first term. It was, oh, deportation, that's racist, or that makes him a dictator, or whatever the case may be. Now all of a sudden, due process. Well, I guess that's it for this video. Bye.